What is up, my fellow budget travelers? So you rented a car and now you're like, where do I go outside of Boston that's really cool? I'm going to show you just one of the many day trips you can take around the Boston area. It's only about an hour out of Boston and it is so worth it. Wait until you see these spots. You may not realize it, but New Hampshire and Maine are right next to Massachusetts, so it makes it really easy to bounce around while you're over in this Boston area. So let's start with Massachusetts first. I'm going to bring you out to Plum Island. This is like an iconic spot over in Boston. It's almost like the Hamptons of the Boston area, I would say. There are a number of areas for you to go out onto the beach, but I like to go into the nature preserve because it's only like $5 to get in, and the beach is really pretty out in this area. They've also got a boardwalk out to the beach, so it makes it really easy to get out there. I suggest starting your day off here because you're going to get the best views and there won't be as many people out, and you'll also be able to catch the surfers before they head in for lunch. Plum Island has a very kind of Ditch Plains vibe. Like, it's got that surfer community, but also that chill vibe. So I always love to walk the beach up to watch the surfers and just take in all the views up here. And the sand is always so soft. If you're lucky, you may even catch some seals at the right time of day. They had signs up all over the place like, please do not feed the seals. Knowing an area like this is so close to the city, it's kind of like, why wouldn't you go see it? They've got so many cool houses out here too. Might even be worth it to get an Airbnb for a night or two out here and just have a day at the beach. This last time I was there, the waves were pretty powerful, so we were lucky to see a bunch of surfers out. I want to say there was about like 10 or 12 of them scattered along the beach, so we had our eye full. It was really fun standing and watching them surf. The colors out here are also really vivid, depending if it's cloud covered or once the skies kind of open up, you'll see all kinds of shades of blue. It's really pretty. And the grass is really cool out here too. It's kind of like marshy, but it's really fun to see it blowing in the wind. After you've been walking the beach for a few hours, you're probably gonna work up an appetite, so let me bring you over to Bob's Lobster. This is like an iconic spot in Plum Island. People will drive out here for their lunch break just to get one of these amazing lobster rolls. But it's not just lobster rolls they have a whole bunch of things on the menu, but the lobster roll is the go-to. We were here on off season, so I think it was like $28 for a lobster roll, but it does get up to like $40 or $50, guys, depending on market price, just so you're prepared for the sticker shock. But it is so worth it because these lobsters are super fresh out of Massachusetts and they are just so delicious. If a lobster roll is too expensive for you, there's plenty of other seafood to try. Don't be shy. Get a couple of things. Try the clam chowder or the lobster chowder. It's delicious. Everything here is delicious. You can't go wrong. My cousin tried the lobster poutine and look at that thing. It was so rich and yummy. Next up, I'm gonna bring you over to New Hampshire so you can check out Portsmouth, and this is where we're gonna end the day because there is so much stuff to do here between eating and shopping and exploring. It's a really cool town. This is a super historical seaport. It's a big part of our American history. This little town still has a number of different ships that come in and out of the harbor. So it's really cool. These little tugboats over here are one of my favorite parts of the whole area, and they actually still work to this day. So you will see these tugboats pulling the big ships in and out of the river. And traveling around Boston, you'll actually see a number of places who paint these paintings. These are the tugboats that you'll see scattered all over Boston. There is a lot of history in this little town, like this Memorial World War and there's bridge. A historical walk all along the water, which will lead you into this little historical reenactment town. So there's a lot of history here in Portsmouth as well. Though the original North Pier has burned down a couple different times, there is still a pier here in memory of this amazing shipbuilding and commerce-filled area. This is where a number of big ships would come in and drop off a number of different commerce for all of New Hampshire. These days, instead of housing commerce, they house a number of lovelocks. As you walk the path, you'll see a number of historical sites that will tell you all about the history of Portsmouth. You'll see this cool whale statue. It's another one of my favorite things in New Hampshire to go see. And if you're lucky, you'll get to see the bridge go up and see a huge tanker come through like we did. So enjoy as I show you some of the tugboats in action. As you walk back towards town, you're going to see a number of historical homes. These go way back to the 1600s, a lot of them. So they're really cool to see. There's also a reenactment area over here too, so you can learn all about the 1600s, 1800s, all kinds of stuff over in this area. So enjoy your walk. If ghost tours are your thing, Portsmouth is a fun spot for ghost tours. Just even talking to different bartenders and things at the different restaurants we visited, they are haunted. They say weird things happen at different hours of the night. So if you're into ghosts, this town is full of them, it sounds like. This town is also full of places for shopping. They've got a number of art galleries and little like thrift stores, clothing stores, all kinds of souvenir shops and things like that. So take your time, shop, enjoy yourself, and then once you get hungry, head down over to Bow Street. This is where some of the coolest restaurants in town are, because even though it looks like you're on street level, you can eat on street level, but a lot of the restaurants also have a sub level which goes out onto the pier, so you can also eat down by the water but be inside. So make sure you check those out. There's a number of options that have this. And while you're there, make sure you try out some of the local beer from the local breweries. There is some good choices, guys. And that's going to be it for this video, but if you're looking for the best 10 things to do in Boston, make sure you check out this other video, or if you haven't been in town yet, make sure you check out this video. I toured the whole airport and give you an idea what to expect as soon as you land. Otherwise, this video is the one that YouTube thinks you'll like the most, so I'll see you in one of those videos. See you there.